First meeting of the morning as the investment bank was at 6 a.m. So up at 5 in the office by 5:45, and then we'd have our 6 a.m. Market meeting, pre-market meeting. The sales team would then go to work, and then the corporate finance guys inevitably stayed till 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And frankly, as my marriage deteriorated, it was easier to come home after my wife was asleep. So it would be 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then get up again at 5 and go. And I could go entire weeks without seeing my own family, and we'd live in the same house.
Wow. What did you learn from that?
With the benefit of hindsight,
yeah,
it was a totally fucked up existence.
Thank you for sharing that.
Frankly, it was pathetic. I mean, my perspective on what was right and what was wrong, my priorities were deals. My priorities were getting the firm built. My ego and my wallet were being gratified, but at the same time, I basically, for all practical purposes, abandoned my own family.
You've got 3 beautiful children. I hear. And you often refer them to as your real true board of directors.
Yeah.
If one of the kids, one of your children said, "Dad, I want to be your business partner or be in business with you," how would you react?
Well, I've encouraged, for example, my son. I said to him as he was struggling with what to study at university, I said, "I'd like you to pick up 2 degrees if you want to work with me." Again, I'm not asking you to work with me. I'm telling you that the option exists. And if you want to do that, there's 2 degrees. And I'll give you a choice of engineering, law, commerce, and frankly, general arts. Learning to learn. Don't care where you go. But any 2 of those. And then I'd like you to get a couple of years' work experience with one of my competitors, someone who does what I do, but working under someone else. So if you think I'm tough, work with someone else and see. Then you can judge me more effectively. And so it was just getting some work experience in that world. But if they wanted to bypass all of that and come to work with me on Monday, there'd be a space for them.
I want to go back to that balance for 1 second, Brett.
Right.
You know, I know people that are in business and they keep telling me, I need to find the balance. They've been looking for the balance for 20 years. Hard to find. Have you now found some balance?
It comes and goes. I mean, I can talk the talk better than I walk the walk. I know that, in my life, after going through head cancer about 8 or 9 years ago, I spent time in addiction treatment around workaholism and actually did the work that had to be done. And out of that, reprioritized my life. There's absolutely no question that I understand that my own personal health, mental, emotional, physical, has to be dealt with. If I'm not around, I'm of no use to the rest of my family or my business or my world. I'm of no use. Second is family. And you can't pick your family, but I always believe that you should do everything you can to celebrate and work with and recognize your family. And I have a great family relationship in terms of my extended family. But this is a group of people that I'd all but abandoned. I talked to my dad every couple of months because he'd talk to my wife. I was at work, he'd talk, and I could never chat at work because I was too busy. But I would keep up to date through my wife. So I'd lost my relationship with my father. Again, no animosity, just let it float away. Likewise with my children. I was there to do, make the Christmas party and a couple of parent-teacher interviews, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job. It was pathetic in hindsight. So it was a matter of reprioritizing family, and then after that as friends. I had basically disconnected with friends from both high school and university, and it was a matter of reconnecting with them. So I'm doing a much better job of looking after what I would call those first 3 priorities and letting business come last. Now, I got a little carried away with some of the public speaking and events and this stuff I'm doing this fall, and I'm doing a book and all that stuff. So I'm letting that run my life for a period of 2 or 3 months. But if you knew my calendar for 2010, it's virtually empty. And I can't tell you how much I look forward to 2010.
What do you do to relax then? How do you wind down?
Get on stage, chat with strangers. I really get a buzz, and I really do enjoy getting on and sharing some of the business experiences or Dragon's Den experiences or whatever. I get a kick out of that. And I do spend a lot more time with my children now than I have. Even though they're spread across Canada, I travel to see them regularly.
I want to talk about attitude for a little bit. And certainly, as Councillor Ray said earlier, we've gone through a pretty interesting economic time the last year. And as a small business owner, whether you're small or big, and I think we have a lot of small business owners here today, it's a thing about attitude. How do you keep that positive attitude? I saw a great poster I was going to tell you earlier here, and the poster said, "I hear there's going to be a recession," and underneath it said, "However, I've decided not to
participate." Amen.
Great attitude. Brett, what do we got to do to have that positive attitude? We're going to have days where we get knocked down, aren't we?
Happiness is a choice.
Yeah.
Now, some mornings it's a little tougher choice than others. I'll certainly give you that. There's no question. But I think it's about a positive mental attitude and knowing that you can make a difference every day, and remembering that even staying flat, in other words, not progressing, is better than slipping back. So if you just focus on a day that you may not have made much progress, but you didn't slip, that's not a bad day. And also remember, every day that you're looking down at daisies is better than a day that you would spend looking up at daisies.
Amen.
If you think you're having a bad day, just imagine not having it.
That's right. So I like that point.
Exactly.
There's a little show on TV called Dragon's Den.
Love
You guys
it.
know that
God,
show?
I love it.
Great show.
Anyone here not seen it? Right now, that one right now. But it's online, you can go watch it.
1.6 million viewers, I'm told.
You know, our first show was, well, last year by context, CBC was delighted for good reason. We started the year at about 700,000 and grew to just over 1 million by the end of season.
Yeah.
So their hope was that we could get to 1 million fairly quickly in this season. Opening show was 1.3, second 1.5, third 1.7.
Wow.
So it's, you know, around CBC they're using the word monster hit and whatnot. I don't know what that means in the Canadian context.
Wednesdays, 8 p.m.
It might be Wednesdays about 8 o'clock.
Okay, there we go.
CBC does, you know, well,
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know how much you can share with us right now, because I know you probably have some contractual things that you can't talk about.
in theory.
Have there been some deals that you just loved that you did? And have there been some deals that you kind of say, not sure if I should have done that?
Well, first of all, we do have confidentiality agreements as part of our contracts.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
But nobody will say anything here, but you want
Well, let me flip it around. I still haven't signed my contract. 'Cause
Okay.
we're in
Oh.
So I'm actually not obligated by anything in the contract yet.
Okay.
So we can talk about anything. Because I mean, the cat's out of the bag now. Okay. Let me put context. I was season 3 and 4. Season 3, we looked at 192 deals in the show, or in the den, and of that, about 120 made it to the show.
Right.
That was 10 episodes. This season, we looked at 257 deals in the den, including Jacqueline.
Yeah, we have some of them here. Awesome.
Yeah, someone who was successfully presenting last week, and she kicked Kevin's ass in my mind.
Good.
But so 257 deals in the show. Of that, they're going to turn that into 20 episodes this year. So we've got a lot more material, a lot more product. So about 80% of those will actually make it. Now, in terms of deals done in the den, last year I did about 17 or 18 deals beyond the show, and of that, there's attrition. There's attrition for a number of reasons. So on occasion, some people come on the show and their real goal is national profile, national publicity.
Yes.
I understand that. Other people, things they represent aren't quite right. You do your homework, and someone told me he had a memorandum of understanding that was signed. Turned out it was an email, and it wasn't very tight. So again, there's a gap between a signed memorandum and an email that says we might be interested. So, but he, in his own mind, believed that he had a firm deal. Maybe he believed that for TV, I don't know. But there's reasons why deals don't get done. Anyway, out of that, I've done 9 or 10 deals off of my first season, season 3, and we've already closed, my team and I think we closed 5 or 6 of the deals that I've done on season 4. Okay. Now, we can't talk about those because they haven't even come to TV yet, but we're working on, well, there's so many. I did almost 30 deals in the show this year, so we'll see what comes in terms of how they roll it out, but we're actively getting deals closed. It was kind of amusing. Last year on one of the blogs, someone was upset when they thought that it was a contrived deal, because by the time the deal showed up on the show, someone did a corporate search and discovered that I already owned a piece of the company. And they're going, well, this is all wrong. Well, we filmed it in May. It came on TV in December or November. Come on, guy, if you understand any business, if you understand enough about how to search to see who owns a corporation, you got to be bright enough to understand the gap between May and December and the fact that I actually got the deal done before the show aired. A lot of people still think that we come down every week and shoot the show. We did it all in May. It's all done. 18 days of shooting. It was split into 3 blocks of a week almost. And then they cut and paste. And there's a reason why we wear the same clothes every week. Because the order is all cut and paste. We don't shoot it as episodes. We shoot it as vignettes, and then they come back and they cut and paste it together as a show. Apparently CBC takes enormous grief for Diane Buckner wearing the same dress all the time. Right? Because she has to. There's no other choice than putting a show together. It's a nice dress, but I wouldn't wear it, but it's a nice dress.
Unfortunate circumstances, why you got called to sort of entertain the idea of being on the den, it wasn't an automatic that you're the guy. Did you have to
well, actually, I thought it was. I got an email. I was down in Mexico doing some charity work, and I was up on top of a hill reading my emails. And once every couple hours I'd go up. That's all I was doing. And I had an email that said, we'd like you to be the next dragon. And I foolishly thought that meant they wanted me to be the next Dragon. But what it really meant was come to Toronto and try out.
Right.
And I didn't realize I was competing until the day before I was getting on a plane a couple of weeks later. And I was annoyed, because I was arrogant enough to believe that I could do the job and that it was mine if I wanted it. But I went down to Toronto, did the screen test, and they came back and said two things. One is, you look better on camera than you do in person.
Oh!
I never quite figured out if that was a shot or a compliment. I almost hate walking around without a camera. One of those moments. But the second part was they said, you're not mean enough.
Oh.
And I came back then the next day after thinking about that when Stuart called me and said, look, if you want me to be a prick, I'm not in. I have no interest in the show if that's what you need from me. But if you don't think I know how to be tough when you need to be tough, check with my ex-wife and her lawyer. Check with my business partners. I mean, there's a time and a place. But gratuitous rudeness, just being a prick, doesn't interest me because I don't think it celebrates anything. People coming on the show don't deserve to have their dreams shattered.
Yeah.
Sometimes a dose of reality makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't need to treat them with a comment like, this idea is so stupid, you should go in the forest and slit your wrists. I mean, that's just stupid. And I can't say who said it, but we all know it was Kevin. And he can stand for it. Kevin does a fabulous job of building that show's brand in terms of being the guy some people love to hate. But there's also people who love him because they think he is business reality. Now, I don't believe that. Kevin and I have done business together, but we fundamentally and philosophically disagree over structural things like this need to have 51% of a company. I don't believe. I mean, I can control a company with a shareholders agreement and only own 1%. So 51% treats someone like, well, by example, one of the deals I did last year was Moxie Trades, these pink work boots. And the deal I cut with her off the screen, we tried to do a deal on the show, it didn't work. Next day I met with her and we cut a deal. It was that quick. But the show constrains you to doing deals. If they ask for $500,000, they have to leave with $500,000. You can ask for more of the company, but you can't offer them less money, even if you think they need less or if there's another way of structuring the deal. So we're constrained by that rule on the show, which of course isn't real. But I met with Big Boots and Marissa and ended up doing a deal to buy out her silent partners who owned 51% of the company. On closing, I gifted her, without her knowing it was happening, I gifted her 1% of the company so that we were equal partners. And I said, with this 1%, I'm going to convert you from an employee to a partner.
Wow.
And that's the way business should be done.
That's powerful. We're getting near some time constraints here. A couple more quick questions. Then we're going to open up for maybe 3 or